Imagine for a moment that you are Jonah. You have just witnessed something extraordinary, something that, in the eyes of many, would be considered a miracle. You were sent to deliver a message of doom, a prophecy that foretold the destruction of a great city, a city whose reputation for wickedness was known far and wide. You braved the journey, endured the storm, survived the belly of the great fish, and finally, you stood before the people of Nineveh and proclaimed the words you were given. You expected resistance, perhaps even violence. You expected to be ignored, or mocked, or driven out. But instead, something entirely unexpected happened. The people listened. They repented. They changed. And because of their change, the disaster you foretold did not come to pass. Now, as you sit on a dusty hillside, the sun setting behind you and the city of Nineveh spread out before your eyes, you are left with a strange, unsettling feeling. The vine that once shaded you has withered away, leaving you exposed to the harsh elements. The city, once marked for destruction, is alive with the sounds of celebration and relief. And you, the prophet, are angry. What if your prophecy succeeded and you hated the result? This is the paradox at the heart of Jonah's story. A story that is as much about the inner struggles of a single man as it is about the fate of an entire city. Jonah's anger is not just a fleeting emotion. It is a profound crisis of purpose and identity. He did what he was told. He delivered the message. And yet the outcome is not what he wanted. He wanted justice, perhaps even vengeance. He wanted to see the wicked punished, to see the prophecy fulfilled in the way he imagined. But instead, he is confronted with mercy, a mercy that extends even to those he despises. As Jonah sits under the withered vine, he is forced to confront the limits of his own understanding. Why did God spare Nineveh? Why was his message so effective? Why does he feel so empty, so angry, when he should feel triumphant? These are questions that echo through the ages, questions that challenge us to examine our own hearts and motives. Consider the weight of being a prophet. It is not just about delivering messages. It is about carrying the burden of expectation, of hope, of fear. Jonah's anger is not just about Nineveh. It is about himself. He feels betrayed by the people, by God, perhaps even by his own sense of justice. He cannot reconcile the mercy shown to Nineveh with his own desire for retribution. He cannot accept that his success as a prophet means the failure of his own expectations. The withered vine becomes a symbol of Jonah's predicament. It was a gift, a brief comfort in a harsh world, and now it is gone. Jonah mourns the loss of the vine more than he rejoices in the salvation of the city. This, too, is a paradox, a reminder that we often cling to small comforts while missing the larger miracles unfolding around us. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows over the land, Jonah's anger lingers. It is an anger born of disappointment, of unmet expectations, of a world that refuses to conform to his desires. But it is also an anger that invites reflection. What does it mean to be a messenger of hope, when hope comes in a form you did not expect? What does it mean to be an agent of change when the change is not what you wanted? Jonah's story is not just about prophecy. It is about transformation. It is about the struggle to accept that mercy can be greater than justice, that compassion can outweigh vengeance. It is about the challenge of letting go of our anger, our pride, our need to control the outcome. As you watch Jonah on the hillside, alone with his thoughts, you might begin to see yourself in his struggle. How often have you hoped for a particular outcome, only to be disappointed when things turned out differently? How often have you clung to your own sense of right and wrong, only to be confronted with a reality that defies your expectations? Jonah's anger is a mirror reflecting our own struggles with forgiveness, with acceptance, with the unpredictable nature of grace. The city of Nineveh, once doomed, now thrives. The people, once lost, have found a new path. And Jonah, the reluctant prophet, is left to wrestle with the meaning of it all. His anger is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a deeper journey, a journey toward understanding, toward acceptance, toward peace. In the end, Jonah's anger is a gift. It forces him to ask hard questions, to confront uncomfortable truths, to grow in ways he never imagined. It is a reminder that even in our moments of greatest frustration, there is the possibility of transformation. The story of Jonah's anger is the story of all of us, struggling to make sense of a world that is often unpredictable, often unfair, but always full of possibility. So, as you sit with Jonah on that hillside, watching the city in the fading light, ask yourself, What if your greatest success came in a form you did not want? What if the answer to your prayers was not what you expected? What if, like Jonah, you were called to let go of your anger and embrace a mercy that is bigger than your own understanding? This is the challenge and the invitation at the heart of Jonah's story. It is a story that asks us to look beyond our own desires, to see the bigger picture, to trust in a wisdom that is greater than our own. It is a story that reminds us that sometimes the greatest miracles are the ones we least expect. And so, as the night falls and the city of Nineveh glows in the distance, Jonah's anger becomes a quiet question, lingering in the air. What if your prophecy succeeded, and you hated the result? Go to Nineveh! But Jonah ran. Sometimes we sail into storms of our own making. These storms are not always born from the whims of nature, nor are they conjured by the unpredictable moods of the sea. Instead, they are forged from our own choices, our ambitions, our mistakes, and the paths we choose to follow. The ship, ancient and weathered, creaks beneath our feet as we press onward, driven by desires we barely understand, compelled by dreams that shimmer just beyond the horizon. The wind howls, the rain lashes, and the waves rise up like mountains, threatening to swallow us whole. Yet we grip the wheel tighter, refusing to turn back, even as the sky darkens and the thunder roars. In these moments, the storm becomes more than just a force of nature. It is a mirror, reflecting our fears, our regrets, and our hopes. Each flash of lightning illuminates the faces of those around us. The captain, steadfast and unyielding. The crew, united in their struggle. The young sailor, clutching a keepsake from home, whispering a prayer into the gale. The storm tests us, pushing us to our limits, demanding that we confront the truths we would rather avoid. It strips away our pretenses, leaving us raw and exposed, forced to reckon with the consequences of our actions. Below deck, the water seeps in, relentless and cold. The crew works tirelessly, bailing and patching, their hands blistered and their muscles aching. Every drop of water is a reminder of the risks we have taken, the dangers we have invited upon ourselves. The compass spins, uncertain, as if mocking our attempts to find direction in the chaos. Maps are rendered useless, their ink smeared by the rain, their lines blurred by the storm's fury. In the midst of this turmoil, we are forced to rely on something deeper than charts and instruments. We must trust our instincts, our experience, and each other. The storm is loud, overwhelming, a cacophony of wind, water, and fear. Commands are shouted, barely audible above the roar. Ropes snap, sails tear, and the mast groans under the strain. Yet amidst the chaos, there is a strange kind of order. Each person knows their role, each action is vital. The ship becomes a living thing, every creak and shudder a testament to its resilience, every scar a story of survival. The bell clangs wildly, a desperate call to action, a reminder that time is running out. As the storm rages on, moments of clarity emerge. A lantern swings, casting fleeting shadows that dance across the deck. A sailor slips, and another reaches out, their hands grasping in the darkness. In these small acts of courage and compassion, we find strength. The storm may be of our own making, but we are not alone in facing it. Together, we weather the tempest, drawing on the bonds that unite us, the shared determination to see the dawn. Sometimes, the greatest storms are not those that batter the ship from without, but those that rage within us. Doubt, guilt, and fear swirl inside, threatening to overwhelm our resolve. But just as the ship endures the onslaught of wind and wave, so too can we endure the tempests of our own hearts. We learn with each passing squall that resilience is not the absence of fear, but the courage to press on in spite of it. The storm eventually passes, as all storms do. The clouds begin to part, the rain eases, and the first rays of sunlight pierce the gloom. The ship, battered but unbroken, sails onward. The crew, exhausted but alive, gathers on deck, their faces turned toward the horizon. In the aftermath, we take stock of what we have lost and what we have gained. The scars remain, but so too does the knowledge that we have survived, that we have faced the storm and emerged stronger for it. We realize, in the quiet that follows, that the storms we create are not always to be feared. They are opportunities for growth, for self-discovery, for forging bonds that might otherwise never have formed. They remind us of our own power, our capacity to endure, and our ability to shape our own destinies. Sometimes we sail into storms of our own making, not because we are reckless, but because we are searching for something greater, something worth the risk. And so, as the ship sails on into calmer waters, we carry with us the lessons of the storm. We remember the fear, the struggle, the moments of doubt, but also the courage, the unity, and the hope that saw us through. The journey is far from over, and new storms may lie ahead, but we are no longer the same as we were before. We have been tested and we have prevailed. The storm has changed us, and in its wake we find a new sense of purpose, a renewed determination to keep sailing, no matter what lies beyond the horizon. From the depths, he cried out, 40 days and Nineveh will fall. They believed God. Is it right for you to be angry? This question, simple yet profound, echoed in the stillness of the evening air as Jonah sat alone on the rocky hillside, his gaze fixed on the city of Nineveh sprawled out below him. The sun was setting, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, but Jonah's heart was clouded with a storm of emotions. He had obeyed God's command, journeyed to this foreign city, and delivered a message of impending doom. To his astonishment, the people of Nineveh had listened. They had repented, turned from their evil ways and sought mercy, and God, in his boundless compassion, had relented from bringing disaster upon them. But instead of rejoicing at this miraculous transformation, Jonah found himself consumed by bitterness. He could not understand why God would spare a people he considered so undeserving. The anger simmered within him, a fire that refused to be quenched. He felt betrayed by the very mercy he had proclaimed. Was it not justice that should prevail? Was it not right for the wicked to be punished? Jonah's sense of fairness clashed violently with God's grace. As he sat there, the question lingered. Is it right for you to be angry? It was not just a question for Jonah, but for anyone who has ever struggled with the tension between justice and mercy. Jonah's anger was real, raw, and deeply human. He had risked his life to deliver God's message, and now he felt as though his efforts had been in vain. The city was spared, but at what cost to his own sense of purpose and identity? The rocky hill beneath him offered no comfort. The wind whispered through the grass, carrying with it the distant sounds of celebration from the city below. Jonah felt isolated, misunderstood, and alone in his indignation. He remembered the journey that had brought him here. The storm at sea, the desperate prayers, the miraculous rescue from the belly of the great fish. Each step had been marked by God's intervention, yet now, in this moment, Jonah felt abandoned. He replayed the events in his mind, searching for justification for his anger. Had he not been faithful? Had he not done exactly as he was told, even when it went against every instinct? Yet here he was, wrestling with emotions he could not control. The question pressed in on him, relentless and unyielding. Is it right for you to be angry? Jonah's story is a mirror for all who have ever felt slighted by grace, who have watched as forgiveness was extended to those they deemed unworthy. It is a story about the limits of human understanding and the boundless nature of divine compassion. Jonah's bitterness was not just about Nineveh, it was about his own struggle to accept a God whose love knows no boundaries. As the sky darkened and the first stars appeared, Jonah's anger did not dissipate. Instead, it settled around him like a heavy cloak. He could not bring himself to celebrate the city's salvation. He could not let go of his resentment. The question remained unanswered, echoing in the silence. Is it right for you to be angry? In that moment, Jonah was confronted with the reality that God's ways are not our ways. The mercy shown to Nineveh was a reflection of a greater truth, that no one is beyond the reach of forgiveness, that grace is offered freely even to those we might least expect. Jonah's struggle is a reminder that anger, while natural, can blind us to the beauty of redemption. The story invites us to examine our own hearts. How often do we hold on to bitterness when others are forgiven? How often do we question the fairness of grace? Jonah's journey is not just about a prophet and a city. It is about the universal human experience of grappling with emotions that seem at odds with the divine. As the night deepened, Jonah remained on the hillside, his anger unresolved. The city below slept in peace, unaware of the turmoil above. The question lingered, a gentle challenge to let go of resentment and embrace the mystery of mercy. Is it right for you to be angry? In the end, the answer is not found in words, but in the willingness to trust a God whose compassion is greater than our understanding. Should I not care about that great city? Who have you refused to forgive? Let us pray. Lord, soften the hearts of those who seek justice over mercy. Teach us to see others through your eyes, to recognize our own need for grace, and to let go of bitterness that holds us captive. Help us to remember your boundless compassion and to extend forgiveness even when it is difficult. Transform our hearts, O God, so that mercy becomes our first response and love our lasting legacy. May we become instruments of your peace, bringing healing and reconciliation wherever we go. If this story made you think, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Wise Within for more inspiring journeys.